What is good, homies? This is Chris from the Small Hat Crew, joined today by Small Hat Brandon.
Hi.
And Small Hat Garen.
Hello, hello.
Okay, so we have a interesting topic today. I guess before we jump into this, just got back from Nats. You know, flight literally landed. Has it even been an hour?
It's been about an hour.
It's been about we got back about an hour ago then, and we're just jumping straight into this immediately. No time to waste. I will say, well, I want this video. I'm gonna try to put some constructive criticism out there. You know, not just shitting on Bandai and stuff. You know, but with no constructive criticism whatsoever, because ultimately we would all like Nats to be better next year. So that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and put some suggestions out there. We'll address every single problem. We will have problems upon problems to address, but I don't know, because I don't want to feel like we're just yelling into a void, you know, and just putting a pointless video out there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and where do we begin, boys? Where do we start with this? Because there are a multitude of issues.
I think we should start with like going as a spectator first, and then the real meat of the problem was going in as a player.
Yeah, I think
the player experience is far more important than the spectator experience. So what we should probably
that's what I'm saying. Like we start
with player and then we go into spectator.
Oh, okay.
Or actually, let's just do it in chronological order. So let's just go ahead and start with it first. Okay. Just doing check-in for the event.
Yes.
We did check in for the event. So we all got there so early, and we formed a line. We were like the very first people in the line. We were like the very front of the line, and we stood out there for what, like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours.
Yeah, about 3-4 hours.
Yeah. So there's this extremely long line. It's like wrapping around the building, right?
Which, granted though, we got there way before it was supposed to open, so us waiting out that...
No. The wait is not the problem. The wait's not the problem.
Right.
Okay, so we are the line is extremely long, and and it's not none of like the employees did the best with what they had. You know, none of this is on them. These are decisions.
Yeah,
bro. Okay, so and I'm sure, because I doubt that they were the ones making these decisions and these calls. So I'm not gonna fault the people at the bottom of the totem pole. You know, I'm pretty sure they're just taking orders at this point. But so we get there. There are tournaments for multiple different games. You know, you got your Bandai, you got your One Piece, you got your DBS, or whatever Dragon Ball game is happening at the moment, because the game, you know, I don't know what iteration we're on at this point. You got your Battle Spirit Saga.
They're worlds. They're worlds.
There's multiple different games, and there's no way of organizing who's waiting for what. So there's just one giant line that's just going around the building. Eventually, when they're finally ready to like pull people and everything, they come outside, they see the long line, and then they go, fuck what's been organized here. We're gonna throw all this out the window, and we're just gonna create chaos. So then they just start pulling people into random different... They go, if you're DBS, go over here. You're a One Piece, you go over here. Like, and this uniform single file line that's been organized and has been sitting out there for you know, who knows how long. They turn it into chaos. Now there's just giant piles, and it's just chaos. And then the chaos that they have created, they're like, everybody stand single file, get out of the piles, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to rectify the issue that they created. There was already a line. There was no need to do any of that. It was so... I don't know. I'll let you guys weigh in.
Well, then they tell us when we all get in our respective lines, like, okay, so now we're in the One Piece line, and they go, okay, everybody get a buddy, because you're gonna walk through the doors 2 at a time, so stand in a double line. And we're like, that's the weirdest shit I've ever heard, but okay. So everybody, literally, you have people like, oh, we have 3, hey, who needs a buddy? And people like bringing them up in line to get a buddy, which made no sense. And then they kind of look at the buddy line and just go, all right, single file line, and we're like, bro, what the fuck?
From single file to buddy back to single file.
Yeah, so then we had to change to a single file L-shaped line to get in, and then the worst part is we finally start walking through the doors, when you get in, there's 2 lines for you to enter. So like you go left, the person behind you will go right. So in the end, you're in a buddy line. You're in a 2-person line.
Yeah.
The whole thing just made no fucking sense. No one knew what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because like, I don't know, it really does feel like Bandai is really, I don't know if they're still going to be doing it after, like, you know, the event has ended, but it really felt like, I guess, up to this point, and maybe potentially after, they have really underestimated just how big the One Piece community is, and how big, like, the reach and the influence is, because, my god, like, the One Piece line, like, every game had their lines, and, you know, they were maybe they were maybe yards long. The Battle Spirits line was maybe 6 players long. The One Piece line, was like blocks. It was so day one. So it's like buildings long. You know, it goes back to like the parking garage, right? Actually, no, it did go all the way. It did do the full 2 blocks. It went all the way down to the parking garage.
It went all the way down to the parking garage and then started looping all the way back to the front.
No, that's day 2. That's day 2. So.
Still.
Yo, I'm specifically talking day 1. We're not at day 2 yet. So,
right.
So the One Piece game is like, it's way bigger than like any of their other IPs, and it just feels like they do not, because like the amount of like employees they sent out to try to handle it and all that, and that's why another reason why I don't fault the employees whatsoever. I really do think they tried to do the best with what they had, because my god, there was like a handful of them to the hundreds of One Piece players that were out there. So
now,
what?
Well, what I will say as well is when we got inside, the people helping you with the check-in, like when you got to the line and then like they had like 2 people like pointing you which like computers to go to. You go up to the computer, get like your ID. Those were probably the nicest people that I've ever met. Those employees, like those ones, for the most part, knew what they were doing. At least the ones that helped me did, and they were the nicest people ever. I know that there was some, like, I guess some of them forgot to give people a pack that had, like, the Luffy in it or whatever.
Yeah.
So some people didn't get their 10-drop Luffy.
Yeah.
I got mine, so whatever. No. But yeah, the people inside, super nice. It was just super disorganized.
It
on
was.
Day 1.
You could tell like there was a very
pre-day 1.
Yes, you can tell there was just like a lack of communication that must have happened. Because it really, like, a lot of the employees, you could tell they didn't know like what they were supposed to be doing, like what their like responsibility was and whatnot. And so I would say, I guess, like next year, before we even start anything, just it would cost all of maybe like 15 cents to print the name of the game and put it on the door so people know where to line up for what games. That alone would have alleviated so much of the issue.
Honestly, even put like 2 little poles outside, like to start a line, to be like, hey, here's gonna be the line for the One Piece store, so people have a starting point.
Yes. So the fact there was no organization, like everyone made their own line. Like we had that giant line out there, and the fact that they had to come out here and break the lineup was crazy. They could have just started with that kind of thing, with just the pieces of paper on the doors or like rope just saying line starts here for said game.
Another thing,
couldn't do that.
Another thing as well, nobody knew if spectators had to check in or not. My friend, my best friend was there as a spectator, and he goes up and asks him, hey, I'm a spectator, do I have to be waiting in this line? They said, we don't know, so wait in the line just in case. And then of course he waits in that long ass line, gets to the front. Oh yeah, we're not taking spectators today. Yeah. You'll just have to come back tomorrow. And it's like,
Smalls, get down.
Could have told him that we're standing in a. Yeah, exactly. It's like, Smalls, get down. No.
Get down, Smalls.
Told him before spending 4 hours in a line. It gave us hope, like, hey, you know, this is. This happens before events. We're finally through. We can come in tomorrow and do it.
Because that's crazy too. Because yeah, they didn't communicate like exactly. Like they said what would be happening that day, but like they gave like the bare minimum information. So people were showing up unnecessarily waiting for, and it was like you said, it was a pointless wait. It didn't. You were in line for literally nothing. Like it didn't make any sense. So I guess that's like pre-day 1, like you were saying. So now we move on to actual day 1. So before the event has even started, actually, Brandon, I'll let you go over like the player experience. I'll let you go ahead and give it a start. So
all right. So
context
player
that we
experience.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
context before we like go ahead and address any of that. So the tournament is supposed to start. They tell people to be there, I say by 9, and yeah, they say be there by 9 for orientation, and then tournament starts at 9:30. Take it away from there, Brandon.
All right, so I am a super punctual person at heart. Like, I always get places on time, right? So I arrive by about 8:15. Don't have to be there till 9:30 technically. Now, I notice that when I go up, it's outside. You have all of the employees outside saying like, hey, if you have a badge, go to the left doors. If you're spectating, wait in this line. So I go up and I'm like, hey, I forgot my badge. So my badge, my ride dropped me off. He lived an hour and a half away from the venue. So he dropped me off and he already started going back home. So I told him, hey, completely forgot about the badge. It's in my car. It's not here. Can I get like a replacement badge? Nobody knew. So I had to go up through the line, not a big line, but when I get there, I'm like, hey, I was just told to come here for like a replacement badge, if possible, and they go, no, we don't have replacement badges and no badge, no play.
Which
so
they
you gotta
did, by
go
the
and
way.
get your badge.
They did have replacement badges.
They did?
Yes.
I was told by 3 people there, no replacement badges. If you don't get your badge, you can't play because they're being super strict about the badges.
Yep, nope. They were doing replacement badges to the point that some people in all the downtime, what they were doing was they were going in, getting their promo Luffy, putting the badge away, and going through line again to get more. So they were just like farming Luffys. Just getting new badges every single time to get new Luffys.
That's so stupid because I had to call my friend who was already on the highway. If anyone's been to the California highways, you know it took him 30 minutes just to turn around and get back there. Now, here's the fucked up part. So I got there at 8:15. So I call him at like 8:20. Hey, man, I need the badge. Is it in the car? Luckily, it was. He's like, cool, I'll turn around. 8:25 hits, and they start saying, One Piece players, doors close in 5 minutes for players. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? It's 8:25. So now they just made everybody outside think that doors are closing at 8:30, and
30
that's
minutes early.
They sent these people into a panic. They sent me into a panic. You have people running across the street because they're doing a loud ass announcement. They're running across the street to get inside, and I'm calling my friend, and he's like, yeah, dude, I'm at least like 15 minutes away. And I'm like, cool, I'm fucked. So I go up and ask him, I'm like, hey, what do you mean doors close in 5 minutes? And they said, oh, somebody lied to us, so you're good. So truly nobody knew what the fuck
Nobody knew what was going on.
Because
Literally
they were shouting
nobody.
it for at least 5 minutes. It started at, I remember, it started at 8:23. They said, doors close in about 5 minutes, and then at 8:25, they really started shouting until 8:27, 8:29, and then that's when I went up and I'm like, my friend's not here, I don't have my badge, I'm not getting a round 1 loss for this, like, what's going on? And they said, no, somebody lied to us. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
How does someone wait? So like an employee lied to them?
I don't
was
even
it
know.
just some random person?
We don't know.
That's
The employer just told me some guy lied to us. Don't worry, you're good. I didn't even ask any more questions after that because like my heart was just in a panic, dude. I'm like, I'm gonna get a round 1 loss at Nats for only showing up an hour early. Like, fuck me, right?
Yeah, right.
like how that doesn't make, oh my goodness, like just thinking about someone lying to a staff member and that somehow making its way around everyone else for something no one confirmed. How does that happen? How does that happen?
And this is the player like checking in experience, or I'm not sure, the player like, I don't know, just getting into the building experience, right?
Yes. Just to walk in.
Yes. Now here's the spectator one is it's so much worse. Okay, so as spectators, all right, so people that like didn't get in, right? And you know, and like the precedent has already been set, like every regional treasure cups and whatnot, when like usually what they do is for people that didn't get in, they will like if they don't fill in all the spots, the open spots will then become available to people that are there ready to go into the tournament. So none of that happened, and it's like whatever. But then they go out and host a tournament. They send out notifications to everybody that entered the last minute raffle and didn't make it in. They send out new notifications to everybody, and they go, you've been selected to be a participant of this last-minute raffle tournament. It's gonna start at 1. Make sure you're there. So everybody like just heads to, and like this was they set this at like 10 o'clock, right? So you just have like 3 hours to show up. Luckily we're not that far away, so we go ahead, we get there. Turns out they're not letting people in until 12 o'clock is what they say. It's you have 12, you have to be in there by 12, and the tournament starts at 1. You get there, you find out that actually they're not letting people in at 12. There's this giant line and it's not moving, and this line is at minimum 2 blocks long. It goes down 2 blocks and then it wraps around back to the front. So it's the line is 4 blocks long basically. So people are in line for a minimum of an hour. So it's they tell you that like you got to be there by 12. If you get there at 12, you're not getting into the building until 1. And then you could say like that's just for the people at the back of the line. The people at the front of the line at least got in on time though, so they could get in for the tournament. Nobody's being let in. Like literally, people start going in at 1 after the tournament has already been announced to have started. By the time we get in there, the tournament started at 1. We're finally in there around like 1:40. So it's like, well, fuck, we missed the tournament. There's no way. And then we go ahead and we find a guy inside, and we're like, well, people didn't get in until the tournament started, so maybe maybe they just push the tournament back or something to accommodate that. The guy goes, oh yeah, you can ignore that notification. We sent that out on accident.
That's Jesus Christ.
The entire week, or this entire time we're here, we're just stressing because we're like, we're gonna miss this tournament and we can't even get in. I've asked like 4 or 5 people like of staff, like, hey, I got this email about this. What do I do? And all of them said the same thing to me. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ask. They'd walk away, come back, and go, yeah, you still need to just get in line to get your spectator's badge. And I'm like,
and it makes sense though why nobody knew what it was about, because it wasn't even supposed to be set out to begin with. It was like a fluke. But yeah, and the line, everybody's in that line for at minimum like 2 hours long, and it's crazy too because like a good majority of the line is like in shade under like the parking garage or whatever, and half of it is just standing in the sun for literally no reason. And then a player finally talks to the staff, and that's why I say I'm not like hard on the staff at all, because like I feel like they did the best. They tried to do their best. Like, because a player asked him, he's like, instead of the line wrapping around into the sun, why don't both sides just stand in the shade? And they're like, you know what? That's an amazing idea. So finally, all the players get to stand in the shade. Like, people were just in the sun for literally no reason. Anyway, well, I guess we'll swap back to the player experience now. So now that you are finally inside, what's happening, Brandon?
I'm inside. It's probably like close to 9 o'clock. Tournament's supposed to start at 9:30, so like I'm nervous, right? Now, mind you, remember guys, we're all from Florida, so we're 3 hours behind time zone wise. They have to realize when you're running a national tournament, you're gonna have people 3-4 hours behind, right? Or ahead. Time zones are all gonna be off. So the tournament doesn't start at 9:30. When it hits about 9:28, I shit you not, like 2 minutes before it's supposed to start, people start going around saying, at least this is when we heard of it in our group, hey, if you have a 2-round bye, because anybody that topped a regional gets that 2-round bye. They don't have to play the first 2 rounds. They just get 2 wins. If you have one, check your app. You're supposed to be showing not checked in. Now, I didn't have a 2-round bye. I suck at the game. But my boys did. And they showed checked in. So now you have this long line of every single person that had a 2-round bye. Mind you, there was about 500 of them that are showing checked in. So now they have to get all of that cleaned up. We're sitting there just waiting at tables, doing whatever the fuck, until 1 o'clock. The tournament started at 1 o'clock. That's 3.5 hours late. And I wish I was exaggerating. So that's 1 o'clock for Californians. Now it's already 4 o'clock for us. We're playing 11 rounds that day. We're already exhausted. It's only 4 o'clock. It's going to be going till like past midnight, right? Like, this is just a shit show.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tournament starts 3 hours. So like not only are people already exhausted because the tournament is starting 3 hours late, but then you have to take into consideration too, like the people that have buys, they've been there just standing for 5 hours. They don't start actually getting to play the game until they've been there for 5 hours.
Yep.
And this is not even taking into consideration too. So it's already starting late. So and it's like so we're gonna be here till midnight. That's not what ends up happening. So what ends up happening is, turns out, like they need people. They say that they need like people out of there. They've rented the space until 9. So what's happening is, so like all the spectators, like once it comes to that point, they like start making all the spectators leave, and for the players, they cut an entire round, potentially 2 rounds, like a down pair, depending on how the down pair plays out, because there's still 3 undefeated players at the end. They just go, fuck it, we're cutting an entire round off, maybe an entire 2 rounds. So what was initially supposed
let me talk more about that, because it's even deeper than that. So first, there was no vendors either. So for like the 3.5 hours that we're waiting, you can't buy product, you can't do shit. Like you literally, there's no vendors. And then to do like the side stuff for this stupid thing, scavenger hunt that they had you do, minimum of an hour that you're waiting, which nobody that's a player is gonna wait because they're thinking round 1 might start soon.
Yeah.
So we start the round. The first 2 rounds go. Okay, great. Well, round 1, they still pair me and other people against someone that was supposed to have a 2-round bye. So it's 1 o'clock now. I get paired against someone that's supposed to have a 2-round bye. So after 5 minutes, my opponent doesn't show up, and then I look in the app and my opponent just disappeared. It said that I'm paired against myself. So I go up and they say, okay, congrats, you get the win. So it's a free win, yay, but it almost counts like someone dropped. It didn't look like it counted as a bye when you look at my tiebreakers.
Right.
Because I ended up getting 128th place. And I'm really salty about that, actually, and Chris kind of touched on it a bit. So what happened was, from the player perspective, right, after the second round, now all of the people with the 2-round bye is supposed to come in. So I get paired against my third opponent. I'm like, ooh, I'm playing a Nell, and I'm against a Zoro. I'm like, hell yeah. We're waiting for 10 minutes, and then they say, hey guys, we're doing a repairing. So now we just have different opponents. That took about 30 minutes to hash out. So now we're another 30 minutes behind. We finally get to our new opponents in play. They did a repairing a total of 3 times. The second 2 times, it didn't take as long, but it was still about 15 minutes per. Now...
And one of them was kind of like low-key, like they didn't want to like admit that another repair was happening, so they were like, they were like, hey guys, like the app might be a little buggy and showing the wrong players, so maybe you should use the website instead.
Which didn't load for anybody.
Yes, and then like shortly after, like, actually, you know, if you're still seeing issues with the web, maybe you do look back at the app after all.
Yeah,
like
so people said...
So people were saying that was technically like, because because they were saying like the app is showing the wrong names, look into the website for different names, but they were saying those names are also wrong, so look back at the app. There was potentially 4 repairs there. There was potentially 4 repairs, and that like one debacle was 2 repairs in itself.
Yeah, the app thing made no sense because they're like, hey, don't use the app, it's incorrect, everybody go to the website and refresh it. And then when literally everybody was like, hey, the website is not loading, like the website's not working, they go, if the website isn't loading, use the app. And we're like, what the fuck? So we finally get past round 10. By this point, it's like, what, 11:45? Like, it's late as fuck. But at some point, because my ride is about an hour and a half away, I went up after like round 8, and I asked him, hey, do we have any time what time the venue closes? Because the rumors started spreading that we were going to have the last 2 to 3 rounds on day 2.
Which is what should have happened.
Right, but then you have to think people have late night flights going back, which you shouldn't have, but some people have school or work, so I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And the dude tells me I can't comment when the venue closes. Everyone was saying that it closes at 9, but he goes, but I can tell you that we're playing 11 rounds. And I'm like, today? He goes, yes, today. Right, I forgot about this. Another round goes by, so it's like the end of round 8 or beginning, and this man gets on the mic for everybody and he goes, first off guys, everybody take your phones off the table, like we're in fucking high school or something. It made no sense to me. Then he goes, there's a lot of rumors spreading out there, in a really pompous way, by the way. He's like, there's a lot of rumors spreading out there that we're like, what time we're ending the tournament or what we're doing on round 2. At the beginning of the tournament, we told you guys it was 11 rounds, and that's what we're playing today, 11 rounds. And we're like, okay. So nobody had any grievance with it. We were just like, okay, you don't have to talk to us like children.
Right.
So now round 10 ends. I'm happy-ish because I'm 8-2 at this point.
Yeah.
Now, to get into top 64, you have to be a minimum of 9-2, but almost all the 9-2s are gonna make it. I had
not even almost.
tiebreakers.
So the breakdown was supposed to be, as far as top 64 goes, every single X2 was supposed to make it in, and 17 X3s were supposed to scrape in.
So I'm like, all right, so me and my boys are talking, and we're like, hey, all I have to do is win my next round. That's it. Again, I won't know if that happened, because what happened is 8-2, they make an announcement that say, hey guys, the venue's closing, so we are going to run top 64 now, so we're ending the tournament here. So now I get 128th place.
Yes.
Luckily I didn't bubble out to 129 and get even shittier pricing, but I had a good chance of getting top 64, as did other X2s that just completely lost that chance now.
Literally. It's like...
when they literally got on the mic and promised that we were running all 11 rounds. You had me fly out from Florida for the promise that we're going to be playing 11 rounds. I practiced for months to make sure that I, to do my best to go 9-2. And
it's crazy
so many other people.
You just win the next round, you're guaranteed into playing at your top 64. And even if you don't win the next round, there's still 17 X3s that get in, so there's still the chance you just scrape in there anyway. And like that, because they cut an entire round, maybe even potentially 2 rounds, that ruins so many people. And you have to think too, like Brandon went 8-2 and he got 128th. He literally scraped into 128th. There are X2s that didn't even make top 128.
A lot.
That's crazy.
Not a lot of them, but yes, some X2s did not make it because of that bullshit.
Yeah, because even if it's not a lot, the fact that you can go 8-2 in an event and not even top 128, when the press, like when it was already like before the event even started, it was all the X2s are supposed to make it the top 64, and then because they did a last minute decision like that, it just fucked over so many players. Who knows how our top 64 plays out? Because there are people out there that have like 3 serial Luffys that didn't even top 64.
Yep.
Like that's
unheard of.
And it's crazy too, because also tiebreakers. So I'm gonna talk on tiebreakers, because like, for example, you're 8-2, depending on like what happened with those 2 losses, it weighs differently. Like whether or not you're in top 64, whether or not you're not in top 64. There are players. So people remember, Nats initially started out like closed, like it was only for people with invites, and then they opened it up to the public, and the trade-off for those players was supposed to be that they get 2-round buys. There are players that had their buys that were still made to play out the first round. So there are people that were supposed to have a buy that still ended up playing the first game. If they lost, that's unfortunate. I feel terrible for them. But even if they won, if their opponent, the person that they beat first round, went on to do bad, despite the being guaranteed first round, despite not even supposed to be playing it, because they did have to play it, if their opponent did bad, now they don't even top 164. I mean, they don't even top 64. Like, that is atrocious. And didn't you say wasn't it round 2? Or no, I think it wasn't round 3, you were 2-0 and there was a player beside you, it was a 2-0 playing against a 0-2?
Yes.
Before
the repair. Before the repair for round 3, they had an X2 facing a 2-0, and we're like, what the heck? And I did just look at it. 21 people went X2 and didn't even get top 128 because of the bullshit that they pulled.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It was just... This whole event was run terribly. And then, when they closed the venue for us players, when they made that announcement, they immediately just said, the venue is closed, you have to leave. So now we were forced out of the building. So I'm in a place that I don't know. The streets are covered in trash, right outside the venue because of the hot dog vendors or whatever. I guess LA is just like that.
Bro, it was good though. The hot dog was good.
It was good in the moment, but it fucked me up. Well, that's another thing. Well, let me finish this first. So now I'm outside the venue waiting for an hour and a half on my ride because I thought that there was going to be a whole nother round in a place that I'm unfamiliar with. Like, I'm just sitting there on the side for an hour and a fucking half waiting for someone to pick me up. Don't know the area, nothing.
Right.
Also, we had a very small lunch break at 2 o'clock. So after round fucking 1, we had a lunch break. No, you know what? I'm sorry. It was after round 2. After round 2, depending on when your round finished, you got about 30 minutes for lunch. So ran outside, grabbed a hot dog. Between 2 o'clock and the venue closing 12 o'clock, there was no food, no like nowhere to buy drinks, anything like that. Like, you were just kind of fucked. So now it's midnight. The venue closes. I'm on the street, which, remember, Florida time, it's basically 3 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
Fucking exhausted, hungry as shit, and just want to go home at this point. Now, because it ended so late as well, you couldn't even pick up your prizing that day. You had to come back the next day to pick up your prizing. So now I had to drive another hour and a half back the next day to get my prizing and dip, because I wasn't going to play any side events that they weren't going to host.
Right. Okay. So now we'll go and swap over to the Spectator experience for this. So what's happening here is, all right, so it's like you didn't get in the Nats, but you know what? Not a problem. We have events galore for you. You're going to be able to play in side events instead. What actually ended up happening is the side events, so the players get in like 3 hours before the spectators do. What ends up happening is the side events are filled by the players. So the spectators never even get a chance to even attempt to sign up for the side events. And they don't even announce that they're doing it. So what happens is, and my boy Joey, Heart Pirates TCG. So
shout out.
He's in there and he's like just standing near a wall. And then like an employee like walks past him and just puts pieces of paper up on the wall and walks away. And then people start crowding to the paper, taking pictures of it. Joey's like, what the fuck's happening? He turns around and he sees the QR codes. Had he not been there at that moment, he wouldn't have gotten into a single side event. And literally, so he got into them because like he was like already in the building. All the spectators that are outside waiting for their chance to get in to play in these side events while the players play in the main event, once we all finally get into the building, the side events have been filled for 3 hours already. So no spectators are playing in side events. Like, it was so bad. I honestly, like, I would even, like, I think the obvious fix here is if you're not going to let spectators in until 1 p.m. and the side events are for them, don't let people sign up for them until 1 p.m. That made literally no sense. Literally, yep. Players that weren't even in the side events, players that weren't even playing in them, because, you know, it's like, maybe I'll scrub out, and play a side event instead. So players were signing up for the side events and just built them in their entirety. And side events were like also firing, not even with all the players, because the players are still in the main event, because those are the people that signed up for the side events that were intended for the spectators.
Also, on that same note, the side events, there was no cap. If you got the QR codes for each single one, you could sign up for each single one.
Yes.
So multiple side events were taken up by the same person, and it's crazy. That should not have been allowed. The fact that,
like, if you were a spectator, if you went in there was nothing to do. There was this scavenger hunt. But by the time the spectators got in there, all the lines were so long that it's like, because you need to visit like different booths to do certain things and all that. Literally, it's at the point where like you're a spectator, you're finally in there, you can't do any side events, they're booked, so you're left with the scavenger hunt, and every single line is at minimum going to be like an hour long. So it's like, what the fuck do I even do? And then they're supposed to be selling product. They're selling product at retail. At no point do they ever announce to anybody. It's only like people are under the impression they're gonna go in there and like buy boxes at retail. You get to the front of you finally get to the front of the line, and they're like, oh yeah, it's 5 packs cap. There's a 5-pack cap, and they don't even sell all the product. Yet they still like they're not selling anymore. But like all the go for it, Garen.
So I went up there to buy my 5 packs because at first they were selling sealed box product, I believe, and it was gone immediately. So they were down to packs, but behind the vendors were literal pallets, like actual, like a pallet of set 4 set 2, set 5, just sitting behind them, and they were not selling it. There was no, and I even asked, I was like, oh, hey, are the boxes for sale behind you? They said no. And I said, oh, why not? They literally said, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I just took my packs and walked away. There are literal products sitting behind them with no explanation of why it is not being sold or why not to sell it. It's just sitting there.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
again,
what?
It's like, cause like the fact that like that's the decision that like they're not allowed to sell any more packs and they don't even know why it is. So like you truly do see that these are just decisions that are being made higher up on the food chain, and there's just like there's the employees have no rhyme or reason for why any of it is happening. They just know that they're not allowed to sell any more packs. So it's just leading to this like the players and spectators are like mad because they can't buy more packs, and the employees, they don't have answers to give anybody. You know, they're just following their orders. So they're just having to deal with the backlash of that. Like it was so bad. Like there's not even any other way to really like word it. But like they really dropped the ball on this event. It was
so
yeah.
And my thing is, some people came from out of state, even without a like being admitted as a player.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking you're going to nationals, there's gonna be product, promos, stuff like that. There really wasn't if you're not a player.
There wasn't.
There was you couldn't buy anything. Now, what I was told, and this is just hearsay because technically I don't know if this is true, but I was told that they weren't selling boxes because they didn't know how many people were going to show up. You have that. If that's true, that is the lamest shit that I've ever heard, because you literally have, hey, this is how many players you have and this is how many people are signed up as spectators. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's like
that's ridiculous.
It was very, very bad. Like literally to have paid for a plane ticket and then an Airbnb or hotel or whatever your situation is, you're now in this other state. You go in there day one as a spectator, and there are, because remember, you're not playing in the main event. You walk in the door, and the minute you walk in the door, you're told there are no side events. They've been filled. Enjoy the scavenger hunt, I guess. And literally all there is for you to do is you can stand in line for 2 hours and buy 5 packs, and you don't. This is like jump scare. Like you find out after you've already done the wait. You get to the front of the line, and it's like 5 packs. So it's like I stood 2 hours outside just to get in the building. I've stood 2 hours in another line to buy a box. Now I'm told I can only get 5 packs. If I want to do the scavenger hunt, I have to stand in more lines for an hour long, each per line, because there's like a list of like 8 different things you have to do on it. So you're gonna stand in these lines for an extremely long. Like the only people that were like really completing the scavenger hunt was the players. It was the players.
Yeah, because they got in 3 hours
before
early.
the line, like, literally. And it's like, and there's just no side of it. Like there was nothing for you to do. Literally, I was in there. I think I was there for like 8 or 10 hours, and I only had anything to do because I'm a content creator, you know? Like I was in there, I was able to talk to the fans and hang out and like enjoy myself doing that. I can't imagine like just as just like a person with like not even that. There's just literally nothing for you to do. There was literally nothing.
Oh, to go back to the vendor thing, this is also another hearsay thing, but I don't know.
I don't know if that's even really worth putting out there, because that's such a big allegation to throw out with like it being founded on literally nothing. So I don't even think we addressed that, honestly, because you know that's rumors at that point. But that was real, and this is all still day one. And like there were people that were rightfully upset, like player wise, that like they got screwed over by them saying like there's no more rounds, that they were just gonna cut it short. One of Joey's friends, I think he was 108, and he was upset about it, obviously, because he was in the same position as you, Brandon, and he like goes to me, he like complains, he's like, if you cut it he's like, you can't cut around. We're like under the expectation that we're playing 11 rounds. You just promised us we're playing 11 rounds even. I'm 108. Realistically, I have a very, very, very good shot at topping. You know, he's like, I'm at like table 54 or whatever on the final round. I should be playing, and if I win that, I'm topping. And he's rightfully upset, and they escort him out the building.
Really?
Yes.
My God.
Yup, they make him leave.
All I can say, and I did do the rounds as well. I just looked on the pairings. There was 1,981 rounds. My condolences to Andrew Krasinski. They put you as very last place. Sorry, man. Gotta make that shout out. Anyways, I put it into a top cut calculator. There was going to be 53 to 54 people that were 9-2. And 53 would make it in, so 1x2 would not make it in if we played all 11 rounds. So yeah, if you were x2, you were almost guaranteed to make it into top 64 if they kept their promise. So you guys made, and what I hate is some people use the argument, oh, but it's a free event. No, the fuck it's not. It's not a free event, because we paid hundreds upon, some people even paid thousands for flights, Airbnbs, hotels, whatever, and then Ubers gas to get there, transportation, gas prices in California are $4.50. We spend a lot of fucking money to make it happen, and you guys straight up just lied to us. Like, you fucking lied to us, and then you're gonna kick people out of the event that complain about it. Honestly, do better. This was a terrible fucking showing, and some people are just not going to show up to Nats again, especially if it's going to be like this.
There were people like that. There were people like that. They were so like upset by this. They were just selling their collections, just selling themselves out the game. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, me and my friend were tempted, and we have almost a master set of one of every card, and we were tempted to just fucking let it go after this, because we're like, hey, if this is gonna be how the big events are, why fucking play?
But what I think is really, really bad about this too, and it's like, because there's the whole thing too, it's like, this is a free event, right? There were okay. Because it's a free event, everybody and anybody's entering. People that don't even have any arrangements to like, or even any intention to go to Nats are signing up for it and taking spaces and whatnot, because they're like, hey, maybe maybe things change later on down the line. This is a few months out, maybe I will be able to go. So there are spots just being taken by people that aren't even there. So that was another big reason, like, a lot of people thought there could be the chance that they'd be able to get in last minute. But anyway, it's so now day of, there were over 500 open spots that just no one, and it's like, the event's free, but at that point, if you have that many open spots, you could sell them to people. You could say $30, $40, $50 and you get to play in the event. That was because I was talking to Joey, that was like an idea he had. I was like, that's so solid, because also it's like, because it being a free event also, I guess, backfired in a sense, where the event EU, they streamed their Nats. We did not stream our Nats, and they said it was because they could not afford the internet. If there are 500 open spots and you sell them, your treasure cup's usually what, $30? You sell 500 $30 spots. That's $15,000 right there, and that's like me lowballing like a $30 entry. You can charge whatever you want for that. Honestly, it's Nats, but they're saying like we can't. Was that
confirmed that they can't?
Yes, it was because that's at least that's what the employees were told. It was not streamed because they could not afford internet.
What the fuck?
That's
dude?
Ludicrous to say. We couldn't afford internet for this.
You're also running
event.
3 big events at once, so you didn't even stream Top Cut because you're streaming the other games. So now you only streamed the finals.
Yes.
People watch for Top Cut, like to kind of root for their person. Like, yo, this person's going all the way. Now it's like, okay, these are your 2 players. Good luck.
Do you
shout
guys...
out to
I
forget his name. It starts with the Y. The guy that
terrible
got
shout
first.
out. Oh, Giannis.
Yeah, dude. Shout out. I watched him play. I'm an NL player myself. And that dude is just a genius. Just want to make that shout out. Like, I loved watching that final game. Shit was... made me change my deck immediately. Bro,
he like really did innovate, but like he was playing. People were like running 2 Shura. He was running 4. I guess meta aside, like the event. To not be allowed to play in the main event, and there's 500 open spots, is infuriating.
Well, also, I knew that was going to happen when I really looked at it, which this made no sense, and it pissed me and a lot of other people off. You have spectators check in by 12 o'clock the next day. So now you're not, or not even spectators. You have players check in 9 o'clock is the latest for check-in day of the tournament. So we're like, okay, so if players have till 9 o'clock to check in and the tournament's supposed to start at 9:30, they legitimately have no option to add more people into the event for these players that obviously are not going to show up. That was the stupidest fucking thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, when I went to a freaking regional, they made you check in day before so that they know who to give the spots to. You can't do that for a fucking national? Are you kidding me?
I can't believe, like, I am still so like pissed to not have been able to play in the main event. And there was 500, half a thousand open spots. And they're like, yeah, no, we have open spots, but we're unfortunately not allowed to fill them. Like, the amount of things
they don't have time.
Yes, and like I knew the day before also, like you were saying, that it wasn't happening. The minute I realized that deck list had to be submitted, like that day, I was like, oh, well, there's no shot then that like players are going to be able to come in last minute and submit deck lists and be able to play. But actually, what's crazy about that? There were players that weren't even actually in the event. Like they didn't get the invite. They didn't get it officially or anything. That were submitting deck list anyway, and they didn't get in the first time, and then after the repair, they were now in the tournament.
I did not hear about this one. I heard there were people that got in through shenanigans, but I did not hear that one. Oh my goodness.
Well, when I was with Joey, that's how I first found out about it. Like, my God, and then after hearing about it, I then found examples. There were people, and it happened to the point that like there were some people that didn't know they got into the tournament. So that's like realistically, I guess they weren't supposed to be in anyway, so you can't be too upset. But like they had a round 1 loss because they didn't play first round because they didn't know they were in first. They didn't know that they made it into Nats. But it's like they finessed their way into Nats. Like, oh my God. And that's what's also infuriating about it. It's like, so this guy wasn't in Nats. He now is in Nats, and it's like that also that makes it like very, very evident that's like it is possible to get, like, if they really wanted to, they could have put the players in, because there are people getting in on accident. Like, oh my,
that's
I didn't believe it when I heard it. I needed to see proof.
Another thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Go for it.
Another thing to show you guys that nobody knew what was going on, and I shit you not. So when round 1 came up and I was paired against someone that was supposed to have 2 buys, when I saw them disappear from the list, I got up and went to the help desk, they called it. It was like the employees there. So I go, hey, I think I was paired against somebody that had a 2-round buy. My opponent disappeared. What do I do? They go, go wait at your table. You probably got to win, but like wait at your table until further notice. And I'm like, okay. So I wait at my table, and then they call out, hey guys, if you don't have an opponent, raise your hand and a judge will come by. So I raise my hand. The judge comes up. I show them, and they go, oh, okay, go up to the help desk. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go up to the help desk, and they go, no. So he goes, submit yourself as the winner. And the app nor the website was letting me. And he goes, okay, well, you have to refresh him. I'm like, bro, I promise you I did, but I'll do it. I refresh both in front of his face, and he goes, oh man, that's weird. I know why it happens, but I don't know how to fix it. They can help you at the help desk. I go up to the help desk, and they're like, oh, just submit yourself as a winner. And I'm like, my guy, that's what I've been trying to fucking do. So finally, the guy submits me as a winner. He accidentally gives me 6 points instead of 3 for round 1. So now you have people with 6 points. You had someone at the end of round 1 with like 10 fucking points in the system.
What?
Yeah.
And we're all like, what the fuck is happening, dude? So then they had to fix all that shit. It was just, please, do better. Like, that's all I can say. Do better. This shit was terrible. Yeah, if you missed Nats, you really didn't miss Nats. So
you saved your money and you were able to stay home. Let's just say that.
God, like LA was great. I enjoyed my trip outside of Nats. Day two, thankfully. So they try to address the thing of the players filling up the side events, Actually, is that no? That wasn't even them trying to address it. Actually, no, they kind of did. They kind of did because
no, they didn't address it. They didn't address it.
No. They did because before it was one person could go in and fill up all the events. Now they went ahead and they put it on some form of a schedule, so you have to be there in person to sign up for that event at when they're doing
Chris,
it.
But the reason that happened was because the QR codes broke. It wasn't because they were like the infinite wisdom. No, the QR code scanners in that was not working.
Oh, I did hear about the. That's
so
right.
They didn't come out and fix the issue. They couldn't arise the issue because the QR codes were not working.
My God, it literally took a malfunction for them to address it in any sort of way. If it was up to them, it'd be just as bad as day one was.
Yeah,
that is crazy. And the side events, I waited. So I made it into a 128 player tournament. Yes, I did play Purple Crocodile. I made it into a 128 player tournament. My God. I waited 2 hours for it to start because they had one guy. They had one guy operating all of the events. Like, he had to keep going back and forth between all the events, trying to manage everything that was happening. Like, you just sat there waiting for the events to fire because this one guy just had so much on his plate. Oh my God. Like, I don't know, man. I guess the obvious suggestion there is put more people in charge of operating the events. You know,
yeah.
If you got three side events going on, have one person in charge of each one. Like, One Piece is like the most successful anime IP of all time. Like, as far as merch and whatnot goes, franchise-wise, Pokemon. But as far as just an anime, it's in a manga, it's One Piece. You can afford to pay 3 employees to manage 3 events. There's no reason one person should be doing all of that. That makes literally no sense. It makes no sense.
I have to go in a second here, but like, I think the thing that I'm like, I can look over everything else, which was shitty, but cutting the last round
was the worst.
Fucking, like, it was a kick in the nuts. I was like, all right, actually, fuck you guys.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense. Like, literally, Europe, Nats, they had that because they also they had 12 rounds they had to play out. So they went, we'll do 9 day 1, we'll do 3 day 2. Realistically, that's what should have happened here. That's what should have happened here also. It makes no sense that they like, I've never heard of any event in One Piece just cutting a round off. It makes no sense. That's so bad. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we have covered everything. So yeah. I guess there are no closing thoughts then.
Do better. Bandai, do better.
Yeah, do better.
What was it? Play TCG or
Yeah, play TCG.
Yeah, do better.
Yeah, and honestly, I was gonna say, 'cause maybe it's not even Bandai. Maybe they had faith that they could run this event and the ball, and it's like they've dropped the ball, and maybe they'll never be able to run another, Nats again or anything like that.
Weren't they also running like Digimon last year, and they also had massive issues?
Yeah, the fact that this one was worse is, but I wasn't there. I wasn't playing Digimon. I can't say for certain, and I don't want to perpetuate a rumor or anything if that turns out not to be the case. So I didn't live that experience, but yeah, I guess I'm pretty sure that is everything. If we did forget anything, comment it down below. And as far as like going in person. What?
I just feel like you're gonna have some people in the comments like, yeah, the staff touches you in the bathroom.
Whoa!
Yeah. Bandai doesn't have control over that one. I was gonna say maybe do a background check, but maybe this is their first defense, So
little slap on the wrist.
Yeah. But okay, well then, I guess with that being said then, until next time, we will see you guys.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Garen.
And we'll see you guys. I don't know what you want me to do.
Bye.
See you guys.